What's up, ladies and gentlemen, SpadeWant, and welcome back to some more Metal Gear Rising. It has been about maybe 5 minutes or so since the last episode. And surprisingly, apparently last episode had no glitzing in the recording, apparently. So for once, it didn't happen, which is great. Regardless, it is still August 31st, and the time right now is 10:55 p.m. And we have some Rubio with us now. Although before we go into the boss fight, we're going to listen to some of our comments for a little bit more. But first, we need to save it, since we haven't saved it since last time.
Right. You need to save?
I would just save off screen manually, but we still have conversations with her, so yeah. It's just better to start those off.
Did you catch all that with Dosaev and Mistral?
Yeah, I was monitoring the whole time. Dolzaev's not really what I expected. I've seen his file, plenty of photos, but I guess I expected someone more, I don't know, threatening?
Didn't seem too friendly to me.
No, I mean, you hear terrorist, you think of some cold, calculating professional. Dolzaev looks more like some guy off the street.
Cold, calculating professional types don't usually bother with terrorism. It's too risky. Most terrorists are ordinary people, radicalized one way or another.
Yeah, I guess so.
Of course, that doesn't make what they do any easier to forgive. What about Mistral? What'd you think?
Well, she's certainly attractive. Probably an artificial face, though. I'm guessing most of her is artificial.
Roger that.
So Mistral's from Algeria. Have you ever been?
No. You?
Once, for a consulting job. Pretty short trip, though.
I hear it's pretty safe there now, compared to how things were at the start of this decade.
Yeah, I was able to slip a little sightseeing in. Pretty nice spot for a vacation. Kind of hot, though. 80% of it's the Saharan desert, and wow, it was just like you'd imagine. So much sand. You could easily imagine camel caravans trekking beneath the early evening moon. It was like something from another world.
Yeah? I thought only a sixth of the Sahara was sandy like that. The French carried out a bunch of nuclear tests there too, I remember.
But once you reach the Mediterranean coast, it's a totally different place. All these white-walled buildings framed against intense blue sea. It's a really stark contrast.
Were you in Algiers? I know that the capital looks a lot like that.
Yep. The local cuisine's totally French-influenced. I'll never forget this one lunch near my hotel. A baguette sandwich and a café au lait. Simple and simply unforgettable. Oh, there were a bunch of sweet shops in town, too. High-quality European candy, but so cheap.
Sounds like you ate your way across the country.
Well, food's an important part of local culture, you know. Oh, and speaking of which, the seafood. I didn't expect to see Mediterranean fish in African cuisine, but it was also fresh and flavorful. They'd fry up small fish whole, then drizzle them with lemon juice. I could have eaten that all day.
Sounds like a lot of calories.
I tried to stay active, you know?
Hey, did you know my visual analyzers can tell me how much someone weighs?
Yeah, I'll have to talk with Doc about disabling that one.
Yeah, I figured you would want that disabled, huh? You don't want us to know that, huh?
Good. That's the back of the refinery. I see a door there, but it probably has an alarm. Can you use the ventilation duct?
You mean that huge fan?
Just cut off the blades as it spins. Easy, yes?
Not really.
Boris, do we have anything else on Dolzaev? Any more on his background?
Very little confirmed intel, but it seems he is a former Chechen insurgent. He claims he was part of the Chechen National Congress when they declared independence in '91. This was just after the famous coup attempt in Moscow in August. Things were not stable. Gorbachev lost his political power. It was Yeltsin who signed the Belavezha Accords.
Right. It created the Commonwealth of Independent States. All republics that made up the USSR became independent.
The problem is, Chechnya was never a true republic. It was an autonomous state, but still part of the Russian Republic.
Like how Abkhazia was an autonomous state within the Georgian Republic.
Duh. The same kind of sad story. Russia does not recognize Chechnya as independent. They send troops and the fighting begins. It is said 250,000 Chechens were killed over the 2 wars that followed. 1/4 the entire population. The Chechens were forced to give in, and the war officially ended.
But the rebels kept on fighting.
Insurgents fled into Caucasus Mountains, formed several factions. They waged guerrilla war on Russia ever since. We think Dolzaev is the leader of just such a rebel group.
Sounds like Russia bears some of the blame for radicalizing him and his men.
I love my homeland, but she is not perfect. What nation is? Just remember, this could all be smoke. We cannot even confirm Dolzaev is truly ethnic Chechen.
Say he is, though. What would he be after here in Abkhazia?
Some Chechen militants volunteered to fight for the Abkhaz in their war in the early 90s. But when Russia recognized Abkhazia to keep Georgia in check, they also began funding recovery.
Which the Dolzaev crowd see as a play to gain influence. But wasn't the Chechen recovery funded by Russia?
Duh. And many rebels believe this is why their people gave up on independence. Perhaps this is exactly why Dolzaev is here, to alert the people before it can happen again. But if the Abkhaz people are not interested in fighting, his plan could backfire.
So in a way, it's Russian policy that brought him here. He thinks he's fighting to make these people free.
Whatever his motives, no one elected him and no one gave him a permit for murder. Now that he is allied with Desperado, he is too dangerous to ignore.
Very true.
Boris, any idea where they're getting the money to fund this operation? Assembling this many cyborgs can't come cheap. Not to mention getting them all here.
There are 2 questions we have about the money. Is Dolzaev paying Desperado out of his own pocket?
And if not, then who is?
Duh. We do not know size of Dolzaev's war chest, only that he has some funding. Insurgent does not always mean the dirt-poor guerrilla with the hunting rifle and homemade bomb. Some rebel groups are very well funded, in Arab oil nations, for instance.
Right. They have benefactors who share the same ideology.
There is also a chance some other party is backing Desperado directly, creating conflict for their own reasons, like the Patriots used to. Many groups stand to profit from wars, yes? Not just PMCs. Arms maker, contractor. Perhaps it is this kind of corporation behind him.
The oil interests alone could make billions here.
Duh. Already this violence so near the Abkhazia-Sochi pipeline is affecting markets. An interruption in the pipeline would shift the balance of power between the world's oil giants. Whether it's Dolzaev's goal or no, many groups stand to gain a lot of money from this mess.
Seems like it.
Raiden, I've been thinking. What Sundowner said. How peace in Africa was a problem for him. Do you remember?
Yeah. Doesn't sound like somebody fighting for an anti-Inmani faction, does it? The Prime Minister definitely had his detractors. Anyone in that position would. But he listened to them, treated them fairly. There was no real injustice for the opposition to rally around. So the rival factions never got that popular or that well-funded. There's no way they could afford all this.
But it does not make sense for Desperado to be acting alone here either. Even if they trigger full-blown war, there is no guarantee they would get the contract. Perhaps this is about natural resources? The last civil war was over precious metals.
You think big business hired Desperado to shake things up?
Who can say? At least it has not grown into a real civil war. Yet.
We need to figure out who's at the root of all this if we're gonna end it.
But knowing is only half the battle. It is the other half that will get you killed.
Well, no matter what, this mission has a nice side benefit. Putting a dent in Desperado will screw whoever's backing them, too.
Our focus is to help the Abkhaz people. But if we hurt those responsible for this on the way, well, so be it.
Hey, Boris, I know this probably isn't the best time for this, but...
No problem. Ask me anything. My goal is to have open company, huh? Hiding nothing from its employees.
Right, well, there were a few big proposals we had in the works, right?
What do you mean?
You know, my doing tactical drills with the Brazilian Special Ops Force in Rio, playing the bad guys in that South African anti-terror police training program, on-site security consulting for the Swiss.
Yes, we were working on a few things, weren't we?
Well, I thought so, but they're not in Maverick's task management database.
Well, right then. We've had to freeze those proposals. Temporarily, you see?
You're putting them on ice?
They would be too much distracting for you. We need to focus on current op.
That doesn't seem necessary. You're gonna disappoint a lot of prospective clients.
Well, yes, but...
This is about money, isn't it?
I should not have tried to hide it.
Right. Open company, remember?
Well, yes, but we can't afford for you to be too shaken to complete your mission.
Boris, I'm fine. I know it's not all my fault, but my client was killed. Kinda expect to lose some work after that.
Yeah, not your fault, but my responsibility in the end. We were far too lightly equipped. No one on the field made mistakes.
It's a third world country. We were working with a shoestring budget. If we went in heavier, burning Maverick cash, we'd have been in the red.
And that is the tricky part about this business, yes? But what is past, and too early to worry about the future. Just focus on the matter at hand.
Okay.
I wonder if I should try and just go through all of these before the fight, before we finish off the chapter we're missing.
We got anything on that ray I went up against?
We analyzed the wreckage. Its musculature had been replaced with CNT muscle fiber. The same type as you, or most any cyborg. This improved its power output and left more room in the chassis for other equipment. It seems they filled this space with Vetronics and extra weapons.
Like that heat blade and plasma gun. Plasma loses effectiveness in the air pretty quickly, but it's still a hell of a close-range weapon.
Large-scale UGs have a growing problem fighting smaller, more agile opponents like you, Raiden. This is why we now see UGs armed with new countermeasures, such as this ray had.
Let's just start talking to Dr.
Hey Doc, I'm curious. Can I recharge off any cyborg? Even a non-military unit? Not that I ever would, of course.
A pedestrian cyborg? I very much doubt you will encounter any of those on this op. Besides...
Against the rules of engagement, I know. Like I said, just curious.
In theory, then. No, I would doubt very much that you could. Even from those that opted for complete body replacements due to injury or illness, you know. Though I have heard of some very wealthy clients who wanted to fight the effects of aging.
Doctor?
Ah, yes, your question. No, extracting MCFCs from pedestrian cyborgs is unlikely. Most non-military enhancements use polymer muscle fiber that is a generation behind yours. Carbon nanotube would be a bit much for anyone who wished to lead a normal life, you know. And polymer systems can be powered by rechargeable electric batteries. Organic muscle fiber, which allows extraction of nutrients from the bloodstream, does exist, but it requires artificial blood for sufficient power output. This so-called white blood requires regular dialysis, and was mostly phased out once cyborg technology became mainstream. True, some use cultivated muscle tissue to take nourishment from the body's natural bloodstream. But such systems are more regenerative medicine than cyborg technology. I'm sure you'll agree. Of course, natural musculature or no, if the body is equipped with a ceramic bone structure...
Can't get energy from non-military cyborgs. Got it.
Well, one moment. I have more...
Thanks, Doc.
So, as I was saying, there are many differences between pedestrian and military cyborgs.
You're still on about this.
Now, first and foremost, military cyborgs are generally full-body conversions.
You mean as opposed to partials?
Yes, as opposed to just grafting on an arm or leg, where a myoelectric prosthesis would suffice. As I have said, for the general public, these full-body replacements are quite rare. Quite rare. Only in cases of extreme injury or illness, generally. Perhaps a few eccentrics who wish to live longer. In any case, most pedestrian cyborgs are no more than an artificial limb or two. We call these partials.
Doctor, I know. I just said that.
Partials enhancements are not designed to meet the rigors of military use. A pair of synthetic arms attached to an organic body cannot match the power of those on a full cyborg. Total body conversions also armor the entire soldier against stray ordnance and minor injury. This is why wounded contractors most often opt for the works rather than simply replacing the lost limb.
I hear it's why most of Maverick cyborgs had it done, anyway.
Of course, there is the rather dramatic change in appearance to consider. Civilian life as a cyborg can be, well, complicated, as I'm sure you can attest. But for the field, man and metal, capability beyond the natural human body, it has a functional beauty.
Beauty or beast?
Both lie in the eye of the beholder, which brings us to the senses. Machine implants can also restore lost vision and hearing, and with added sensitivity, as you know. Such options have become standard in most military conversion packages, along with pain suppression and dampening less useful emotions, similar to how SOP operated.
Yeah, no matter how hard I'm hit, it doesn't really hurt.
Of course, everything has its limits. Do not let your high threshold for pain make you reckless.
Understood.
Alright, we'll talk to him once more and then we'll move to Kevin for a little bit.
Doctor, about my pain threshold. It doesn't hurt exactly, but I can still feel it. It's not painful, but it's still pain. It's hard to explain.
Well, your nervous system is still fully intact, of course. It would be dangerous for you to be entirely unaware of your body taking damage. Instead, your nerves are controlled such that pain is no longer so unpleasant.
How do you mean?
Take epinephrine, for example, or adrenaline, as you might know it. This hormone makes it harder to feel pain, yes? Your implants work using a similar method. Yet, for all we now understand of the nature of pain, much of it remains a mystery.
How so?
Well, why do we feel pain? Evolutionarily speaking, of course, to signal external injury or internal sickness. If the body is threatened, pain notifies the brain so it can take steps to ensure survival. In other words, pain has a clear and logical purpose. But in certain cases, pain can drive more unconstructive behavior. In situations where fight and flight are both still options, one might simply break down crying or drop to the ground and begin writhing about. This would appear only to diminish one's chance of survival, not increase it, yes?
Maybe there's some other factor at play.
Well, the most common theory would link pain with the societal nature of humanity. If no friends are close by, then experiencing pain might indeed reduce your likelihood of survival. But if allies are near, these expressions of pain serve as a plea for help. Thus, you are more likely to live. Fear of pain might also discourage one from entering a dangerous situation in the first place. Whatever the reasons, the data clearly shows that survival rates rise directly with sensitivity to pain. The converse is also proven. Those less able to feel or express pain have a lesser chance of survival. So, mankind has evolved as a social animal, and in the process, pain has become more pronounced, more visceral.
A little pain never hurt anyone, huh? But if pain is there to ensure survival, well, what's that say about the future for us cyborgs?
As a transhumanist, I do not believe all evolution must follow the exact method Darwin posited. Cyborg technology is still survival of the fittest, after all, just in a new form. You should be proud of what your body has become. It is the culmination of great achievements in science.
Me? I had nothing to do with it. The credit's all yours.
Well, yes. I should be proud as well.
Pain is definitely an interesting it's definitely an interesting topic. It's an interesting topic, if anything.
You get all that, Kev? The woman with Dosayev. That's Mistral?
Yep, the only female member of the Winds of Destruction. The name is from a cold, dry regional wind in France that blows from the Alps down to the Mediterranean.
She French?
Yep, born in Algeria, though. It was a French colony until they declared independence in the early 60s. Haha, but you already knew that.
Yeah. They were the last French colony in Africa.
You know your history. Plenty of French colonial families still live there. Bête Noire, they're called.
I've heard the term. The main character in that Camus novel, The Stranger, was one.
You also find a lot of Algerians who've immigrated to France, although they put a stop to that a while ago.
Yeah. A lot of European countries seem to be clamping down on immigration lately.
Mistral joined the Foreign Legion to get her citizenship.
A woman legionnaire?
And not the first. There was one that served in the North Africa campaign during World War II. Anyway, Mistral's been doing PMC work ever since her Legion discharge. We're not sure why she went cyborg. She's officially leading the force at the refinery, but she is also a combatant. Don't have anything on her combat style, but do not underestimate her. The Winds of Destruction are trained killers, all of them. They didn't let her in because of her looks.
I don't need a reminder. I won't let my guard down.
Yeah, but, speaking of her looks, she's got, well, I mean, a couple of, huge... Look, just don't get distracted, okay?
Sounds like you should take your own advice there, Kev. So, Kev, what exactly goes on here anyway? I mean, obviously refining oil, but what else involved with that? How careful do I need to be?
Skip that week in science class, huh? All right, how much do you know already?
Just the basics. They take crude and refine it into gas and stuff. Other usable fuels, right?
Well, yeah, and stuff. Kerosene, liquefied petroleum gas, naphtha, jet fuel.
Naphtha?
The raw material for ethylene, which is then the raw material for polyethylene and other plastics. Crude oil's used for a lot more than just fuel, you know. These days, it's the core component of just about every chemical product.
Okay.
Crude contains a lot of molecular hydrocarbons and impurities. The refinery distills and extracts these hydrocarbons at their different boiling points. Once the impurities are removed, what's left can be used to make gasoline and so on.
Right. So, pretty much exactly what I said in the first place.
Oh, well, if you know all this already, I guess we're done here.
I could use a bit more detail on...
All right, cool then. Kevin out.
Alright, one more time with Kevin, and then we'll just talk to Carla to save, and then we'll move on to the accent.
Hey, so, Kev, buddy, about the refinery. Can I get a quick breakdown of the facilities?
Copy that. I suppose you should at least know a few basics for the mission. So, like I was saying, the refining process is based around distillation. The tallest building on site is the distillation tower. All the crude oil runs through there first, where it's distilled at different boiling ranges. Lighter components with low boiling points are removed at the top of the tower, heavier ones at the base. The heaviest fuel oil then has the lighter oils and naphtha that distillation didn't remove taken out. Fluid catalytic cracking is what they call it. Other than that, let's see. There's equipment to remove sulfur, a cooling tower to dispose of all the water used. Oh, and the flare stack to eliminate gas waste. You see that thing with flames shooting out the top? That's the stack.
It's burning the gas off?
Yeah, burns it up completely, rendering it harmless. Kinda hypnotic if you stare at it a while, huh? Next door you have a power plant. Pretty typical for this type of facility. And of course the gas tanks. Liquefied petroleum gas, LPG, is pressurized and stored in those round tanks. It's also artificial, but it's got a certain charm, you know? Like the ultimate in utilitarian beauty. A solitary distillation tower, all lit up and set against the setting sun. It's an amazing sight.
Kev, you still with me there?
What? You don't appreciate this kind of stuff? Places like Germany and Japan, people get really into it. Factory sightseeing tours and everything.
Yeah. No, not so much.
Let's save it.
By the way, Raiden, we're not picking up any EXIF codes here either. They're all unaffiliated.
Makes sense. We're enemies. Desperado's EXIF code won't match ours, and vice versa. How much do you know about how EXIF works?
Not much. Just that it comes up as a positive match for friendlies and unaffiliated for anyone else.
Which could be friendlies or neutrals not broadcasting the same code for some reason. Say a damaged transmitter or signal interference. But 99 times out of 100, yeah, it's an enemy. EXIF is based on the IFF radio system aircraft use. Stands for Expanded Identification Friend or Foe.
Too bad it only actively IDs friends and not enemies. But I guess asking troops to broadcast, "Hey, enemy here, kill me," would be a bit much.
Telling friends and enemies apart was always a problem in the air, but it's gotten tricky on the ground too. Especially in the war on terror, with all these PMCs and multinational forces mixing together. The US Army experimented with infrared patches to ID allies. They'd show up in night vision.
Then SOP came along and offered a more efficient method?
Right. SOP's gone now, but its ID protocol is still used all over. ID chips and dog tags, transponders required on all vehicles, aircraft, UGs, cyborgs, you name it.
But if everyone's using the same basic system, how do armies hide their info from the enemy?
Heavy-duty encryption for one. The chips also use a hybrid cross-spectrum system to transmit the data. Without the proper key, it's hard to pick up the signal in the first place. PMCs typically only share their codes with nations or other PMCs they're working with.
What happens if they end up on different sides later, like in a separate conflict?
They just generate a new code and encryption key. The point is, EXIF is required on all combat units, but it's pretty easy to hide the signal.
And 99 times out of 100, unaffiliated means it's a hostile?
Right. Just like with IFF and aircraft. You're a quick study, Courtney.
Nice history lesson, Teach. Now, if you're done, I think you have a nation to save.
Just a little on-the-job training, Kev. Riding out.
And that let's actually progress. But we will heal up first. There we go. We're in. I might just make a little, like, side pop-up thing for this playthrough. For this playthrough, just to let you all know, like, what point in the video to skip to if you want to get to the action, and if you want to just ignore all the Kodak talk thing. Although it's had to do with the codec. I might just do that. Because I know not everyone's gonna be interested. So I feel like that'd be like a small little nice compromise in a way. Oh, we got something up here. Of course, things are lagging behind. Ah, whatever. Doesn't seem like things are blitzing out. Yet. Yeah, we gotta go in there.
Dolcev and his team must be in here. Find him.
And for the hell of it, let's break this one too. I actually forgot all about this whole thing when it comes to the security cameras. And that's one dealt with. Let's see if we can get rid of this one. Open that up. And we'll see if we can move around this room at least.
Ryder, wait. There are active IR sensors in the area. Part of factory security, no doubt, but the enemy may be using it.
Yeah. Let's just see something real quick. Yeah, I forget how you dive under things. I think it's just automatic.
Right. Your infrared camera
Yeah.
is integrated with enhanced mode.
Yeah, not quite. I cannot break that one then? Alright, I can. Ah, fuck. I didn't even notice that. Let's take this. Things are definitely lagging behind. Let's see. Break that. And I guess I'll split the recording because things are lagging behind. And we're back after splitting the recording. Hopefully things won't lag behind. And let's just continue. And then where the camera's at. Let's grab that. I always seem to forget how long this mission is. I figured we'd be in like the third mission in the game at this point, but nope. That's one less camera to deal with. And that one I feel like it's gonna be trickier to get rid of. So I don't think I'm gonna bother trying to. Let's open this up. Oh wait, there's something there. Oh, it's over there. We can't get to it yet. And I almost ran right into that. Yeah, let's just move up. Slowly. Alright, that's gone. Whatever. Let's take that.
More classified Patriot information was in that man's holographic memory.
And another one bites the dust. And that's where we're heading. It's down here. Oh, come on. There we go. I don't have to destroy that camera, but I'm doing it anyway. Is there something else over there? I'm actually not sure. We can check though. Data sorts 2 of 20. Okay. Not quite sure what that does though. Oh, we can just move forward now. Yeah, the boss fight is ahead. I never seem to look forward to any of the boss fights in this game. Guess that's just my love-hate relationship with it. Alright, let's do this.
I was wondering when you'd come, Jack the Ripper.
No one calls me that anymore. Dolsaev, where is he?
I can show you a better time than that crusty old bear.
You're in charge here?
I am Mistral, the cold wind of France. And you, your reputation precedes you. Liberian, but white as snow. A natural-born killer, even as a child.
That was a long time ago.
I was born in Algeria myself, you know? I'm only half French.
And?
We had our own civil war in the 90s. So you see? Cut from the same cloth, you and I.
You don't know me.
I lost my whole family. Everything. But I butchered those fuckers. My family's killers. That's when I realized I am a killer too. And a good one at that. I slaughtered dozens in Iraq, in Afghanistan. I'd found my calling.
Proud of that, are you?
What happened, happened. To be honest, I found it quite dull. My enemies fell like domino, one after another. Not once did I feel threatened. I was adrift, without challenge, without purpose. At times, I even envied my prey. At least they had a cause to die for. And then, I met him.
Who?
And I knew what I had been missing. His ideals gave my life meaning. Ideals, Jack. What are yours?
I protect the weak.
Still? So naive.
And if I must kill to protect them, then so be it.
It seems we have less in common than I thought.
I'll take that as a compliment.
If you would kill for your ideals, then surely you are ready to die for them. Come, Monga.
Alright, so she's kind of a cool boss fight. But at the same time, I'm not the biggest fan at the same time. I am gonna have to keep my eye on the recording though. Mainly just because that cutscene was falling behind for a little bit. It wasn't glitching or anything at least. The fight is kinda cool though, I can't deny it. But actually going through it myself, I'm not the biggest fan. I will say that.
Something special just for you.
Yeah, hello psychics are definitely really annoying for me. I want to go right there, alright. Grab that. Yeah, those damn psychics of us. And where the hell's it now? Let's break that weapon of ours. Try and do those psychics. This one was definitely pretty damn hard when I first tried going through it. That was so many years ago. I don't know, it's not too difficult. There's just a lot going on with it, I feel. It would be pretty interesting to see someone actually go through this game with a no damage run. I should probably still set up at some point. That seems like it would be an interesting thing to watch. Is it possible? I have no idea. So far we're doing pretty good with this fight. The atmosphere this fight brings is just amazing though. I forgot how nice this fight actually looks. To be honest. Come on, let's get out of that dizziness. Or confusion, whatever you want to call it. Oh, girls, get off. On to the next phase of the fight. The final stage. I really do need to download the OST for this game at some point. It is just flat out amazing. I grab that. Those. Now what's he doing? Oh, just this again, alright. I feel like every time I forget this game, forget the game, I feel like every time I play this game, I mean, I keep forgetting how insane it actually is. So it'd be interesting to see how copyright for this game is going to be. How copyright this game is going to end up being like. Oh, we've got it down to 18% at least. Really? We just need to get the fuck out of there. This music is just too good. Oh, come on. Guess it's time to finish off. Hey, B-Back, nice.
Mistral, report! Your vitals are dropping.
I lost. So this is how they felt.
What?
Dying. For a cause.
Wait. No. Hold on.
I am sorry. He was too much.
I do not need apology. I need you alive.
But I know you will never fall.
What? What is this talk about?
Je t'aime. De tout mon corps.
Je t'aime. Mister, you never...
She's not talking to you, idiot.
You! You killed her! You nuts! Murderer!
That's rich coming from you. It's overdose, I am. Surrender. Translation.
Why would I surrender? We are exactly where I want.
Shit.
Built with Russian money to make Russian money. It is no plan for outcasts. It is their prison. But now, they will be free!
Damn. Crazy son of a bitch.
Raiden? Raiden, what happened?
Bastard blew himself up.
I see. Time to get you out of there. We're sending a helicopter. Secure an LZ.
Understood.
And we finally finished chapter 01. I have to admit, I always forget how long this one even is. I'm not sure if I should stop here for the night or not. I would like to go through at least one more chapter tonight, but I just don't see it happening. Chapters in this game can take quite a while. The time for this one's an hour and 26 minutes. That's insane. Although that could be adding on the time with the codec as well, maybe? It's hard to say. Regardless, this still took a while. Oh, is this something about this game I can't help but love and hate? I don't know what it is. I do like her boss fight. I will say that. Even though I don't like necessarily playing through it. But overall, that boss fight actually went a lot smoother than I would have thought. I had great difficulty with that fight when I was first playing through the game years ago. Or at least trying to play through the game. Every boss fight that I played in this game has completely destroyed me every time. I would slowly but surely make more progress each time I reset the game and came back to it each year. So I guess I'm just slowly but surely getting a bit better at it. Regardless, I should probably stop ranting. So, until next time, stay golden.